Welcome to Om on the Range, where we share the practice of meditation, the wisdom of Western Buddhism, and the refuge of our community. Whether you are new to meditation or a longtime practitioner, committed or curious, this offering is here to share solutions, stories, and support. Happiness and better health are available to everyone. It just takes practice. This is Om on the Range. Happy holidays and welcome to episode number 21 of Om on the Range. We strive to offer stories, techniques, and insights on how to live a happier and healthier existence. Based on Western Buddhism, meditation, and the power of community, we are here to support all people and to diminish suffering. Results have been mixed, but we are always game to soldier on. This is our very special OTR Holiday Roundtable edition. We will be setting a record for most co-hosts on an episode and also accidentally blurring the lines between our core practice and a major holiday. What could go wrong? Let's get started. The all-star co-hosts today are Steph Watkins, Jordan Colley, and Tim Behrens. They are also the heart and soul of this podcast, and it is tremendous to have them all here. Welcome to all of you and happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Happy holidays.
That was our most awkward intro ever, and it was mostly me. So this is episode number 21, and we talked about this way back in October about getting everybody together and doing a group podcast. And, around the holidays, it seemed like a good time to make this happen. So let's start right off with what is the holiday tradition from your childhood or in your current age that still brings you joy? And if you want to, you can also mix in maybe how practice has changed, how you experience that moment. That's our question. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. Okay,
Awesome.
So I have adopted new traditions over the last few years just with having kids. And then my mom's kind of changed it up a little bit just since I was little. And I'll start with the new one. The new one she started doing was a Christmas ball. And I'm not sure if she saw this on TikTok or YouTube or something, but or if it was trending, but it's fun. She essentially just wraps tiny little presents into a big cellophane ball. And then we roll dices, and however it lands on is how many times we unwrap the ball. It's super chaotic and crazy. And sometimes she hides money in it. It's totally unhinged. But I like it because it's fun. And, but that wasn't something I traditionally did. So I'll give that to my mom. And then at our house, I would say that just the act of bringing the Christmas tree up from the dusty basement and shaking it off and bringing the ornaments up and noticing the sentimental quality of all of them. I really think my practice has integrated in the stillness between just kind of rushing to do that. And then really just noticing the quality of the ornaments and how long that they've kind of lasted in my life. And some of those things are, 30, 35 years old. So it's really neat to just be present enough to put them up in a way that just draws in from the season and not takes it away by just doing it because it's every 12 months.
Yeah.
That's great. That makes me think of what's new for me too. This Christmas celebration with Jen, this is our 4th year together. She has ornaments that she's had since she was a baby. And her mom has given her an ornament every year of her life. Of course, her mother passed away in 2009, but Jen has an ornament from when she was born. So this ornament is 64 years old. It
Wow.
is so special. It's a little baby in a crib. But I think for me, I didn't grow up with Christmas. I grew up Jehovah's Witness, so I don't really have a specific tradition that I cling to around the holidays. And it's always been kind of a struggle for me to get in the mood, to get in the spirit.
Yeah.
I love Christmas crooners on Spotify. I love that, but beyond that, it's really kind of lost on me, truthfully. But Jen has really made it so special with, like you were saying, Jordan, and I'm looking at each ornament and thinking about her mom giving her that ornament each year. And as little Jenny's growing up, it's really sweet.
So I'm sorry, let me ask you this. With your practice, with your awareness or however you term that, has it been easier to connect with some of this joy, or is it just something you observe and let go?
It's still just something I observe and
Okay.
go, yeah, it's not anything I've ever attached myself to. It's not part of my neural network,
Okay.
because that's not an ingrained path in my psyche,
Right. Yeah.
So I think I just enjoy it for the newness that it brings, new decorations, lights on trees, houses. The music is new, it's a new thing in the year. So I find that fun.
There's a little bit of a duality for me because I remember there was this magic to the holidays, and I feel like I got to that waking up at 5 a.m. to see what kinds of gifts were under the tree and the lights of the trees and just being with family. All of those things bring a lot about. And now I'm kind of on the other side of that, where I do feel some of the stress that lives in the holidays. There's a certain pressure to show up in different ways. And I think if I had a practice that it's really about reminding myself that it is about connection and it is about family and friends, and maybe just that quality of the winter season where we get to slow down and be more reflective. And yet there's still part of that, whatever that magic is that kind of lives in me. So really in space for all of that.
Yeah. I think it's interesting also that there's a scale, whether people recognize it or not, where you mentioned as a parent, you might feel more pressure to provide and to meet. And maybe I'm putting words in your mouth, but I know that a lot of parents feel that way. They're trying to be perfect, and they want their children and really their families, whatever that means, to enjoy it. And they want to have maybe gifts for them and food and a party and a tree. And there's a lot to it. And what that made me think of when you mentioned it is, for me, it's kind of the opposite. It used to be more stressful as a child. And maybe it was because of the buildup of Santa Claus and waiting for him to show up and what that meant. We were never particularly in tune with the religious aspects of the holiday. We knew the story. It's a great story, but it didn't really mean
not
that.
being naughty.
No, that should have been. That was a great question.
This year.
We're obviously going to edit that one out. Yeah. Once again, almost made it. But yeah, I just think it's interesting as I've gotten older, I enjoy it more and I really love it, but it's mostly because I've just learned to not lower my expectations and just be with it. And so now I'm one of those people that embraces it pretty hard.
It's interesting too when you talk about perceptions, because a lot of the times I just realized while talking about this is that I'm living their experiences vicariously through my kids. So I actually probably haven't had a separate experience from the perspective of Jordan in a really long time. So that's what brings me joy around holiday is that, this is my baby's first Christmas. So you can only imagine like the weird pressure that I could put on me and my family to take the best pictures and all of that. And I've been trying to give it space because I notice too, I can rush through things and ruin the whole thing if I put too much expectations on it. So, and we do know from practicing that expectations leads to suffering. So when we go through the holiday seasons, I see the invitation of the expectations, but really just stopping them almost like they're a visitor, being like, excuse me, I don't need to imagine this in my head before we even experience it, because that's a delusion, as we know.
Right.
So I try to stay as present as possible throughout this whole season. And that's where I think that magic is 100%.
Yeah. And so we were going to talk a little bit about, where can you apply your practice to the holiday and to, what you're up against, for lack of a better term. And that's exactly it. I think we all kind of hit upon it, but just practicing that awareness. And it's a really interesting tool to work with too, because there is a lot of joy. And there's a lot of really interesting things to take in and to experience, as long as you can remember to not get too caught up in it. What if it doesn't snow on Christmas Eve? What if somebody forgets the batteries for the toys, or, somebody burns the chicken? Well, you probably don't have chicken. The turkey. I will burn the chicken.
Christmas chicken.
Yeah. The Christmas chicken. That's a Yuletide fowl is what it is. So anything from your side, Tim, in terms of how you can manage some of that stress maybe better with your practice, or is that?
Well, I'm thinking about just the power of ritual, even as we're trying to connect to this, and I don't do it very often. I don't think back to that part of, that aspect of my childhood, but there is something there of that repetition through the years, that time of the year when family comes together. Even the stress itself is like something, there's an association there. That time of the year can be stressful for
Right.
people. But like in that sense, it does become this opportunity to check in, to reflect and ideally start to create rituals and practices that do work for us, holiday or otherwise,
Right.
but it's
Right.
just that reflection of how we do move through the years, regardless of our beliefs or what we think about it, that there's checkpoints.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's another way of also just putting that emphasis on awareness first, awareness, and then accepting right away, whatever that is for you then. But I was curious for you, Steph, since you don't have a lot of tradition, is it new? Is it interesting? What's the experience like to be?
It's like an alien,
Yeah.
I'm an alien on a strange planet.
They're never too strange for the Buddhist podcast.
Right.
You're right. Don't you worry.
I just think it's, I just approach it like beginner's mind. You know what I mean? It's all beginner's mind for me. It has no past for me necessarily. And so there's no stress around it. I don't feel obligated to buy gifts. I don't feel like I'm going to receive any. None of that's real for me. So I just enjoy it if I do get a gift, and enjoy it if I do buy a gift. And my dad, the way he explained it to us when we were little is that, we can buy gifts all year long. Whenever you feel the impetus to get to do it, just do it. So I don't know, am I answering your question?
I was just curious what that experience is without the background.
Yeah, I think if I could say anything that would help our listeners, I would just say that the cool thing about, what's happened to me in my life, my journey, is that I just have beginner's mind around it all. I don't judge it. I don't say, oh God, consumerism, There could be a little part of me that does that, but
Sure.
I don't. I choose not to. And I try to just get into the spirit of it with everybody else.
Well, I think that's good.
Yeah.
I think that's good. And I think like I said, I think it's an opportunity to experience some joy, even if it's
Yeah. Not
for whatever reason, that you don't have to. It's obviously a very Christian holiday, but
Yeah.
before that, it was a pagan holiday. It's
yeah.
not.
It's very clear in my mind.
Yeah. And that's great. But as a practitioner of Western Buddhism, one of the key rules or regulations that I like to live by is that if it's a celebration and I'm welcome, then I am all for it.
That's
Right?
it. That's
Yeah.
it. Exactly. It's like if I'm vegetarian and I sit down at a table where somebody's serving turkey, I'm not going to say, no, I'm not going to eat that because I'll just respect, when in Rome,
Yeah.
I'll have a little piece of turkey.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So
what we're going to do now is this is the quick fire question number 1. All right. And I'm going to let you go first, Steph, because you've mentioned this. What is your favorite holiday or Christmas song?
favorite holiday or Christmas song is
Yep.
one by Mariah Carey.
Mm.
Oh, what is that?
All I want for Christmas is you.
Yes,
Yeah.
all I want for Christmas is you.
Yeah. Like Mariah's here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love her. I love that song.
Tim, do you have an answer?
Oh, I was so hoping you wouldn't go to me next.
Yeah. Well,
I really like the White Christmas song, Dreaming of a White
Mhm.
Christmas.
Oh, Bing
Some-
Crosby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something about that melody just really, that is one thing about Christmas music is, and maybe because it's been with us every year, but I mean, some of those long held traditions they're so memorable. The melodies are so kind of, wired in. And I love that song. My mother, her babysitter when she was a child, like 4 or 5 years old, was the guy who wrote Jingle Bell Rock.
oh, wow.
And so when I hear
Really?
that song, I always think about that story of how people who have done these things that have cast ripples into the ages
Yeah,
at one point were
Wow.
babysitters and living next door to
absolutely.
living normal lives. So I love that.
That's
Yeah.
really cool. One day you'll be saying that about me.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
God, there is going to be a lot
That
of
was
things.
so normal when I knew her.
Right. She was not weird. I don't care what they said on the podcast. Do you want to take this question?
Yes, I love music so much, but not all Christmas music, I'll be honest. Sometimes it drives me nuts. I love the indie versions of all the songs because it's closest to what I actually listen to.
Absolutely.
So that is like, okay, I can handle that. But I'm old school too. So sometimes I get like a hankering for like just some good classical music or just something without lyrics so it doesn't stay in your head forever. But I think Blue Christmas by Elvis would probably just be a good one. Elvis is great and really anytime. So
Got one more for you, though.
let's hear it.
The listeners, Nat King Cole's
oh yes.
I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas. I think did he sing that?
Yeah.
He sure did. Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about Nat King Cole's voice. His voice always pops up.
I'm with you. I'm very much a fan of the new alternative, different approach to Christmas songs. And there's been a lot of good ones, I think, in the last 15, 20 years, especially. Chris Rea does Driving Home for Christmas, which I think is a great song. I love his voice. A couple of people have covered it now, but that is mine for right now. So what's a gift of the heart or of the mind that you've received this season that maybe wasn't in a box or wrapped up? Anything that strikes home that you've learned or felt?
I know for me, and this is going to sound like I've got a canned answer, but this truly is what comes up in the moment, is that I think the gift of the heart for me has truly been this community. I mean, there have been moments recently where, sitting in a meditation service and seeing all of these different people come in and having memories and stories with them. And even this getting to be on this journey with you all has been really magical. And this is probably the first time in my life where I can clearly look around and say, oh, this is my community. This is my place. This is where I find support and comfort. And I'm grateful. I'm really grateful.
I would agree, not to jump on the bandwagon, but in 2025, this community, but also this experience, and the podcast has been a big part of that, but just getting to pull together and do this and enjoying it so much has been incredibly enriching for me and my heart. So
I would say the same thing, though. I really have to go back to Sangha. This is Jen and I's first Christmas here in Kansas City. And you guys have all been such a huge gift of the heart to us. And this little group sitting here right now, and then the greater Sangha, and then how everybody shows up for each other has just been amazing. I had no idea community was so important.
I would say that that's so true for me as well.
I'm going to continue that answer also.
That's when go with the baby.
Well, spoiler alert, I've been talking about it every episode, but I did have a baby. I did. Yeah. Believe it or not. So
Pictures on the podcast.
Yeah. Well, and just that aspect, I did have a baby. I did have a massive career change where I quit my stable job at KU. And then my mom was diagnosed with cancer this year. And so these are major life milestones all crammed into a really small, short amount of time. So to piggyback off of your answers, absolutely, Sangha was crucial. And this was such a good gateway for me to work out all those heavy emotions and not try to chase it all away with a broom. I'm inviting it in. And this podcast and my Sangha and TBC keeps me grounded to where I can let the waves rock the boat, but I don't sink. So I'm appreciative, and I love you guys.
Thank you. Love you too. So what about this? If you were going to leave the metaphorical mindful gift for a listener, let's say, if there's something you wanted to share that you've learned that maybe has been amplified or brought to light more clearly in the holiday season, what do you think it would be?
So I would say then it's an open invitation to just sit, absolutely sit on a cushion, find a quiet space, and then, just count your breath. I know this year we've throughout the podcast talk about a meditation practice. So I would encourage if, you've been listening and playing around with the idea, just begin. And I like how you said beginner's mind, because that's really where it is when you're approaching meditation. And whether or not I have a seasoned practice that I'm returning to, some days it truly is just beginning mind again and beginning my practice over like I had never started it to begin with.
Yeah.
So that is my present to you. And I'm sure it'd be beneficial just throughout the whole season and the rest of the year is just a good solid meditation practice.
Oh, what's coming to mind right now is just that idea of whatever it is that you want to do, don't wait for things to be perfect.
Yeah.
Don't wait for that moment where you say that. Whit's laughing because he thinks I'm talking about the podcast. But really that idea of like
Still operating
how
with that.
often we keep ourselves from leaning into new things because we feel like we're not ready or we haven't learned enough or there's no time, but whatever that is. I mean, I think one of the lessons for me this year has been to not wait, to allow ourselves to try and potentially fail, but as long as you're still trying, there's no failure, there's only feedback, and see what kinds of things we can create. Yeah.
Has community played a big role in that this year for you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, it has for me as well. And
It's a really powerful thing to have people believe in you and to tell you that you should try.
yeah, I agree with you. I think it also goes back to you get people that are authentic, then you can trust them and believe them when they tell you things and when they support you and it feels, and you're being authentic as well, so it just saves so much time, right? Saves so much time and so much game playing. And so now you have more energy and more time in your life to pursue that. So I feel 100% the same on that.
And I wasn't really talking about the podcast, but to talk about the podcast, that idea of like, when we all came into doing this together, I mean, we found a lot of support, a lot of encouragement. There were a lot of things we didn't know. There are a lot of things we're still figuring out.
So true.
And it's also, it's just been a wonderful journey.
It is. Well, the only thing that came to mind for me, and it's not as good as the two answers we just got, by the way, but just with the holidays, to give yourself the gift of some space and some kindness and to really slow down where you can. We're gonna come to the end of the year. It's gonna be a very busy 2 or 3 weeks, and then we're gonna all kind of reset. And having a practice, whether you start today or somewhere in the future, is such a great way to just be healthier and happier. But in the short term, if you can just remember, like I said, to give yourself that time and that space, be kind to yourself and be kind to others, and maybe lower expectations. That would probably make for a better holiday. But again,
I think what you said right there at the end is kind of what I was thinking about, which is to lower, not have expectations, keep your expectations in check. But my biggest lesson in life, I think, if I could impart any wisdom or what was the question? Mindful gift to the world. Wow, that's big. I would say, don't blame anyone for anything. That's been my big lesson in life. And if anybody were to ask me, what's the biggest lesson in my life, or what lesson would help a teenager, for example, like if I was to write a book for teens, I would say one of the big things is don't blame others, for things that are going on in your life, and take responsibility for your life. That's a big one, but it may be too heavy for what you asked, but.
No, I think it's great. And you're right. That may be a difficult challenge for a lot of people because it's a foreign concept, right?
Yeah.
But you're so right. Taking that responsibility will make things so much easier and so much lighter for you.
Yeah.
It seems scary, but it's
just for me, it's part of the Buddhist practice, that's what I love about the Buddhist path, is that it's just responsibility is put squarely in your lap.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
I think that's really powerful if you think about it.
Yeah. So quick fire question number 2. Favorite holiday movie? You have one, Tim?
Elf.
Oh, you took mine. That's such a great.
Sorry.
No, that's great. We should we're gonna.
White Christmas.
Oh my goodness.
The name of them all.
Yeah, no, Elf is fun. I probably watched that more than any other movie. It's just nice to laugh.
It is.
Yes, that's a
He
good
makes me
point.
laugh.
Jordan, do you have a favorite?
Goodness. I don't think I have a favorite. I've been breezing by my mother-in-law while she's watching TV, and she's watching all these Hallmark movies, and they're hilarious. They're great. I used to just kind of stick my nose up at the overproduced, cheesy little Hallmark movies in the past, but watching them a little bit, it's just, I don't know, it's just so homey, and every part of every scene is just so immaculately decorated. And it's always, the woman rushing back home and falling in love with the unexpected man or whatever. They're more progressive too now. It's awesome, but it's just comfortable feeling. I'm trying not to judge everything. When I was born, and being raised in a household that didn't have much money, it was always us and them, or my family against the world. And so I had a very black and white idea of how things worked. And so naturally, when it came into Christmas and stuff, I always just judged everybody, whether I was doing better than them or they were doing better than me, or it was just a very oriented around just not feeling comfortable. And so now I'm just trying not to say, hey, that's not too cheesy for me, or trying to notice where in the season I can be of help. I've been trying to buy people coffee when I run into Quick Trip or anything like that, just to kind of give back in that kindness, because it helps me stay compassionate, not only to myself, but to others too. And I think that's so important. So I wish when I was raised, my parents said, hey, we may not be able to afford all of these things, but we can afford to be kind. So that's what I'm trying to do with my kids and myself this season too.
Did you want to throw in another movie?
Another movie, yeah. The Family Stone.
Oh, that's
love the Family Stone.
Yeah.
And last night we watched The Holiday.
Okay.
We like that one too.
So I'm going to throw out a couple just because, again, I like some that are maybe not as well known. Arthur Christmas is animated. It's an excellent. Yeah, I would highly recommend that.
Like the cartoon Arthur?
No, but it is animated, but it's not Arthur the Aardvark. The Feast of the Seven Fishes.
Never seen it.
Is probably 6 or 7 years old, and it's about an Italian family in Pittsburgh in the 80s who's having this feast on Christmas Eve.
Okay.
It's excellent. Feast of the Seven Fishes.
Oh, I got another one for you guys. The Man Who Invented Christmas with Dan Stevens.
Yeah,
he played Matthew in Downton Abbey.
okay. I've read that
plays
book.
Dickens.
Yeah, I've read the book.
It is such a great movie.
Okay. However, I'm not going to put this out as a favorite, but we are now going to converse about this movie and maybe how it does a nice job, in my opinion, of illuminating some of the Buddhist path. And that is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I think we all know the story. There's a lot of good presentations about the movie, all sorts of different takes, but just the whole idea of someone whose life appears to be wrecked, who and doesn't know it, lacks the awareness to know that the misery he is living with and living through is his own making. And then just how he goes through that change, I think does a nice job of mirroring what, obviously he gets it done in one day.
Yeah.
But
you got first place in this round, Whit.
that's a biggie for me and a big
powerful movie.
Yeah.
I didn't say it, but one of my other favorites is the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Love the Muppets.
Great version of that story. Yeah, I do really love that and hadn't thought about it as much, but there's so much metaphor in that of that idea of reflection and perspective, and that idea that you can also turn things around very quickly with some of that insight.
Yeah, I think also the whole idea that the universe would, at least in the spiritual realm, would come back and try to help with that, in a way that seems so scary, when you're a kid, and also when you're Scrooge. But and using every aspect of life and death to try to teach you a lesson that's so important to learn, and that, hey, you don't have to suffer. And if you are going to suffer, could you at least keep it to yourself?
It's interesting too, what lingers behavioral wise in your subconscious, because there was so much regret when he was kind of realizing what person he was. I try not to have a complete delusional outside perspective of myself, but, kind of like when we were talking earlier about, not blaming others in that sense, I try to pay attention to that kind of subconscious factor of how I'm operating in the world and how I'm treating and talking to people. And not all the time do I like it, but I can forgive myself and move on with it. So
yeah, it also speaks to that responsibility, right? Because maybe the ghost of Christmas present can't make it to your house.
Right.
Damn it,
booked and busy.
Yeah, he's got a lot going on. Who, by the way, is my favorite ghost because he is so about the present.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
he's happy. He is aware of what his life's going to look like. And even at the end, when he is done, he's happy. And I think that's such a great lesson, bigger for us than maybe the story of the Savior. Because this is more about self-responsibility and more about kind of saving yourself.
Yeah.
And also, if you save yourself, then you're more of a benefit to others.
Absolutely.
So we are coming to the end of this podcast. Before we go, opening presents. Is that a Christmas Eve or a Christmas morning thing for you?
It's usually one present on Christmas Eve and then the rest on Christmas morning.
Same.
Yeah. It's always pajamas for us on Christmas Eve.
Pajamas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next year we wear pajamas too.
Yeah. That's a great point. Write that down as well.
Wait, what is it?
We wear pajamas next year.
Steph's not listening.
I don't get it.
All right, we'll come back to that.
Okay. Okay.
So do you guys did same though? Christmas Eve, one present?
Yeah, we always go to my mom's house and for Christmas Eve, which I'm so excited for this year. And we just open one gift, and then I'll go home and Santa Claus comes. That's what another thing too is like Santa is real if you believe in him, right?
Yeah.
So, hey, I am very excited for Santa to visit my house.
Right. Will you guys open presents? Or is that not? I guess that's not something you've
No,
done in the
we
past.
decided not to do that,
Okay.
but we've done that in the past. But this year we're getting a puppy.
Oh, that's
Ooh.
super cool.
Yeah.
That is
So
super cool.
Fun.
It's our gift to each other.
Yeah, so we've always been Christmas morning people. Man, when I was a kid, we had to wait till 7 to open them. But now with my family, my wife and children, it's we do two things on Christmas Eve. We open up our pajamas. That is always a thing. And then at the end of the evening, we usually host a party with the family that night. And then at the end of the evening, I read The Bear Stays Up, which is a children's book about
Oh,
a bear staying up instead of hibernating for Christmas. And then also the night before Christmas. My dad did that. And so that's a
I
thing
love
that
that.
we do.
I'm going to steal that one.
Yeah. Yeah, you should. You should. Well, you guys, thank you so much for being on the show. The Almond Range podcast team not only is great at co-hosting, but they've really driven this effort and made this a reality. So I can't thank the wise, talented people here enough. I appreciate it, and I love you all. So thank you.
we can't
Thank
thank
you.
you enough.
Also, I want to thank our listeners for joining us on this episode. Feel free to comment or question as needed. You can find that opportunity on the platforms we appear on, including Spotify and YouTube, or you can email us at homeontherangepodcast@gmail.com. Enjoy the season, be kind, and take care of yourself. From the Home on the Range team, happy trails.
Happy trails.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks to our Home on the Range production team for making this program possible, and to Mr. Brad Athey for composing and performing the original music. And to you, our listeners, thank you for being a part of this journey as we explore meditation, Western Buddhism, and the path towards a happier, healthier life. Remember, less suffering and more joy are available to everyone. It just takes practice. Until next time, stay grounded, stay kind, and keep finding peace in the simple, practical things. For all of us here at Home on the Range, happy trails.